Thank you for listening to The Regime. This is at 102.7 FM, Radio Waterloo. You can find us at www.RadioWaterloo.Ca. And I'm really excited today because Lidia Kuleshnyk is with us, and she's been connected to me via the Horse Network. So Catherine Betts, as well as Charlotte Ulrich, I believe her last name is, actually reached out to me. And Lidia and I are already friends on Facebook because we all love horses. And you have really your newest book is coming out 30th of August. So Lidia, would you introduce yourself and speak with us?
Well, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an incredible show, an opportunity to connect all of us with great information and really a higher calling of what we're doing with horses. And so I call myself a Renaissance woman, and I really love my roles as a high-performance wellness coach, founder of AponaHealing.com, and I'm a horse advocate as well. And I bring together my 30 years of my passion, expertise, and wisdom in holistic healing and healing with horses into pathways on AponaHealing.com that help you heal and grow and evolve at any level of personal development that you're at. And I became involved in holistic healing and healing with horses through my own incredible journey. When I developed a deep relationship with nature and animals and horses as a child, and that connection helped me heal my chronic illnesses that I was born with. And I was born with deformed organs, and it was difficult back then for doctors to know how to treat them. So when all hope was lost, then spirits came to me in dreams and guided me. And some of those spirits were beautiful pillars of light that became horses. And but it wasn't until my late 20s that when I was in my cocoon of healing, finally resolving my chronic illnesses, that horses came to me very specifically in dreams. And in one dream, one of my life-changing dreams, I was told I was a sister of horses. And as I received those messages from the divine, I was guided to a whole new path in life. My entire life changed around 29 in my cocoon of healing. And I didn't know that that was Saturn return in astrology, when you can make a big life shift, or if you need to make a big life shift. But I was just in that flow, right, of universal energy. And so since that time, I started a horse rescue sanctuary called Apona Healing Ranch in beautiful Eastern Ontario, Rideau Lakes region. And we give special needs and unwanted horses a forever home. And we also offer equine healing retreats and equine assisted therapy. And I've shared these experiences in my chapter, The Divinity of Horses, as you mentioned, in the book by Soulful Valley Publishing, Evolving on Purpose, Co-Creating with the Divine, that is launching on Amazon on August 30th.
That's really amazing. Truly. So how do people find you generally?
My website, AponaHealingRanch.com. I'm also on Facebook and social media with an Apona Healing Ranch site, and also my personal page. I'm quite active on my personal page on Facebook. And often it's word of mouth. My professional practice helping humans with holistic health services and coaching services has been word of mouth for almost 25 years, until recently, when I've been on social media and putting together my 4 pathways of my life's work into online courses and group coaching programs and retreats. And it's really an exciting time to bring all of that together. So, one of my ancient universal principles is divine alignment, is divine timing. So we make ourselves available, but then we let the universe guide who we're meant to connect with.
Wow, that's really beautiful. And really unique too, because I feel like people don't generally even really talk about dreams. You know, it's more like what you need to do or what you should do. What jobs are available to us, what jobs there's going to be a lot of jobs of, and things like that. So then, yeah.
Yeah, well, this is a time on the planet of one of the greatest paradigm shifts in human consciousness. And we're moving from, exactly as you said, from an intellectually based paradigm into a mind, body, spirit paradigm. So it's really a time to start to trust and work with your intuition in combination with your mind and your intellect and logic. So there's the logic and there's the intuition, but we're physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual beings. And our old paradigm has got us into a lot of trouble on the planet because we've been very intellectually dominant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I always say that intellectual control, you know, is not necessarily intelligence, right? And if it was, all beings on the planet would be living in peace and abundance. So there's something out of order, right? In the place that we've come to on the planet. But in my chapter, The Divinity of Horses, I do outline 7 steps that anyone can use anywhere, whether it's to bond with your horse or to access that intuition to guide you for a life of greater fulfillment and purpose by co-creating with the divine. Would you like me to share those?
I would love that.
So I'm going to first read a paragraph. I always call it a chapter. A paragraph from my chapter that was the foundation of those 7 steps. So in my chapter, I share a brief story about how a special horse named Trigger came to me in dreams, who I didn't know. I had just met him by chance at a trail ride ranch. And he sent out an SOS from his soul to save him from slaughter. But I didn't know that at the time. I was just getting in touch with trusting my intuition and trusting that spiritual guidance. So my journey with Trigger was life-changing for me and life-saving for him. So the paragraph goes, I had listened to the messages. I honored the urgency of my spirit and took aligned actions. I felt the fullness of my emotions. I centered in my power. I embraced faith and inner knowing. And in so doing, I was guided to the high spiritual being who would heal me as much as I would heal him. And so from that paragraph, the 7 steps are, the first step is to listen to the messages. So when we're new to connecting with our intuition and higher guidance, sometimes we'll see patterns, you know, like we might see a feather or a butterfly, or you may get what we call downloads, where you get lots of thoughts and ideas and you can write them down. And then you learn how to discern, you know, as you said, what is your intention or logic or intention from a logical place versus connecting with your soul desire from a more spiritual place. And the second step is to honor and value the importance of those messages. And in so doing, we're honoring and valuing our spirit. And every person on the planet, and many of our animal friends, including horses, are high spiritual beings here. And we have an eternal soul. So when we connect with our spirit, then we're connecting with our greatest inner knowing. And so now is the time to start to honor and value that. You know, when we value something, we make it a priority. And to feel comfortable, begin to feel comfortable with recognizing that the spiritual messages coming to us, and however they come, are for our highest and best good, and will create abundance and wonderful things, not just for ourselves when we live in that alignment, but for all beings. The third step is to feel the fullness of your emotions. So this is one of the indicators when we are receiving messages from the divine and accessing our intuition, is we can feel like an energy of emotion, or it could just be an aspiration that's activated. It could be, in my case with trigger, a deep emotional response of urgency and not knowing why, like, why is he sending me those messages? I didn't know they were going to send him to slaughter till after
Wow.
I rescued him. Yeah, sorry?
I'm just saying, wow, like it's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And at the time, I just had to take it step by step. And I didn't have horses then, and we weren't really set up on our farm. I mean, we had a barn and a pasture, and but it all had to be repaired. And I didn't have any money. But the universe sent me out of the blue a new line of credit, or it was actually my first line of credit. And it was enough to pay for Trigger to be rescued and transport him and do some repairs on the barn and the fencing. And that saved his life. And so the gifts come in different ways. And then I just trusted, which is one of the steps, that I would be able to pay that back because I was doing the right thing and still managing, obviously managing the amount that I spent, right? But to tune into what do I need to go forward on my soul path. And then the fourth step is to center in your power and connect with the clarity of what you're feeling and what the message is. You may not have full clarity on the path forward, but that's okay because you're grounding yourself in your own power by the first three steps. And it's what I call becoming centered, connected, and conscious, which are the three most fundamental steps in any process of healing, transformation, or growth. And then the fifth step is to embrace your faith and inner knowing. So that's becoming conscious of the centered, connected, conscious part. And again, have relationship with it that is fully supporting you, and that you are supported in your divine connection and in taking steps going forward. And then that leads us to the sixth step, which is taking those aligned actions. And it may just be small actions, like initially with Trigger, I would go visit him at the trail ranch, which was challenging then too, because I was in the city and didn't have a car, and I had to get out to see him. But I did it. And every step moved us closer together towards changing my life and getting me on my soul path and soul mission and saving his life. And then the seventh step is to, as we're saying, trust in the journey. And to know, as I was saying, that we are always supported because you are a high spiritual being connected in the oneness of all of life. We sometimes don't feel that support because of our intellectual logic, or we haven't cultivated our sense of that yet. But we're all on the planet, to contribute and share and live our highest and best lives. And we all have beautiful gifts that we are meant to share and support others with. And I always say, when we trust the journey, we create miracles that are unbeknownst to us. So my journey helping Trigger then created an energetic frequency or template that others who don't know me or other horses can step into, just like I stepped into someone else's template who did what I did before me. So I always say there's no insignificant action. So those are the 7 steps to co-create with the divine.
So we live in a time where fear-mongering is like a daily, and is in abundance. So what you're talking about is courage. and leaning into the unknown, following the messages that we're getting. Like for me personally, I have a passion for event planning for mental health. And I have done 3 such events in the past before the pandemic. And like you're mentioning, um, I'm not sure if I had dreams, but I definitely had an urge I wanted to do mental health event planning for horses and equine therapy. And I still want to. And during the pandemic, clearly the event planning was very, very limited or nil. So I love hearing what you're talking about. And I feel like the fear-based world that we live in, like, what would you say to the people that live in this fear-based world?
Well, the first thing we want to do is breathe. Because when we breathe and do deep breathing, we're connecting with universal energy and life force. And the more that we breathe into our center and get grounded, and then we start to strengthen what we call our core energy, our fundamental life force. So very briefly, it's a little bit of a caveat, but it's relevant. Many, many years ago, scientists determined that there were 100 billion stars like our sun in our Milky Way galaxy, and 100 billion galaxies in our universe. And our galaxy is one of the smallest. And then there are universes expanding and contracting around us in the multiverse. So we have that minimal 100 billion times 100 billion sources of energy to support us. So I call our core energy our personal signature of infinite universal energy. So to go back to that principle of I am connected to all of life, and I am part of the oneness of life, which is there to support me. And then to focus on that. So when I am, and focus on what you're saying, what your calling is, and then to turn off the media and to turn off or minimize the naysayers in your life and honor yourself, that you are here to share your gifts, and that there is a path that already exists for you. It's just waiting for you to step into. And then we develop that trust. So we do want to eliminate, when I was in my cocoon of healing in my late 20s for a good year and a half, and I was so weak, I was sleeping 16 hours a day, and I died twice. I went through the tunnel of light and had the life review and everything. I never watched anything on TV or media. I didn't know what was going on in the world. I don't suggest that all the time. I mean, we have to kind of know some things. But I literally went into the deepest place within myself to be reborn into my true soul purpose by healing my physical body at the time. But everything is connected. So if you're living in fear, there's different levels of that. I mean, there is a healthy respect for the circumstances of life, right? And so we want to have, have that awareness of how can I navigate forward in my present circumstances without feeling, severe fear or overwhelm. But there is the fear, that the emotion of fear was originally cultivated within beings as more of a warning or a protective mechanism, a healthy, there's a lion in my yard or something, right? Like, yeah. It's a good thing I'm feeling some fear, because I'm going to take action to support myself and move away, right, from that lion or whatever it is. But you're absolutely right. The fear-based mindset that has infiltrated our modern world is not reality, right? It's not how we're made, and it's not how we're meant to navigate.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I do. I guess in the recent days and in the years that we've just come through with the pandemic, and just kind of really understanding the way that media works, even this morning, I went onto Facebook to share our Facebook radio page, and you can't really do that because news have been blocked in Canada. So it's a very, very interesting time that we live in, when we're supposed to turn on the TV and there's a message there. And really, depending on where you go for your information, you're going to get a different message. So tuning into yourself seems like not everybody does it, for sure. And some people have messages for you, like you need to listen to what they're telling us to do, right? Like the awakening is happening. It's just, I'm wondering, how can a person stay asleep during this time when clearly we cannot trust, just like you mentioned the lion, like nowadays, I'm not sure who the lion is. We can't even really talk about it because it would be censored. So it's very, very confusing times. And so I appreciate you have a lot of courage, and you're speaking from a place that we all need.
Well, ultimately, everything, my first universal principle, which isn't mine, I mean, it's universal principle, it's everything is energy, right? And so the second universal principle is energy never lies. You can't fool Mother Nature. And they go on. Everything that has a front has a back. The bigger the front, the bigger the back. So what you just described can feel overwhelming because, we only have 24 hours in a day. We have responsibilities. You still have to eat and cook and, do everything and then figure all this out, right? Mm-hmm. And so, when I work with clients, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, clients said to me, well, what are you doing, Lidia, to navigate through the pandemic for yourself? And the first thing I always say is that try to remember who you are. I mean, that's a whole journey of self-discovery, but that you came to the planet at this time for your soul to express its self-mastery of living in these multiple dualities, or multiple timelines. And you are a powerful spiritual being who is able to navigate in your own unique way. And then you feel empowered. So each person already has ancient wisdom, has ancient knowing. And this is why it's so important for us to connect with our intuition, or what we call co-creating with the divine, because the paradigm has been to belittle that, or call it woo-woo, or mm-hmm. teach us that's not valuable, that's we shouldn't do that. But it is the essence. It is the essence of life itself. And life is eternal, and energy is infinite. The 100 billion times 100 billion sources of energy to support you. So we want to get rest. We want to eat well. We want to take care of our health. And that encompasses mental health, because everything is energy. If we're eating bad food, or if we're putting substances in our body that are fragmenting our cells and our energy field, it would be difficult for us to be a clear receiving and transmitting tower, like what you were talking about with being on a different social media or turning into a channel. Mm-hmm. So my teacher in macrobiotics, Michio Kushi, the macrobiotic forefather, he taught, 60, 70 years ago, that each person is like an antenna, and we choose which dial we're going to live in and tune into. We can change that dial. I don't have to be on social media. I don't have to watch the news. But now the beautiful thing about the internet and social media is that we're all meeting there. Mm-hmm. It hasn't shut down. Mm-hmm. it may be censored, but then we create other ways, right? We create other ways. I was one of the first people to have messages on my Facebook page saying, this is no longer available in Canada. And at first you're shocked, but then you realize, well, that's not the only place to connect with people.
Right.
You know? And that there are always, one of the other ancient universal principles is that for every problem, there's always a solution. But as my teacher said, sometimes we have to have the mind or the hat of Sherlock Holmes. And we can only have the mind of Sherlock Holmes if we feel centered and empowered to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we want to clean up our bodies. We want to put affirmations and mantras around our house to shift our mind. When I go through a transformation or a change, it's especially difficult, I'll put quotes and mantras over every light switch, over every doorway, on every mirror to get my mind refocused into my alignment. And I actually write about that. I wrote three chapters in 3 books on personal development. And I write about some of these tools in those chapters and the universal principles and share my journey of how I healed using these tools. And I make it available, the 3 chapters, in an easy to read ebook. So you don't have to buy all 3 books. It's called, what's it called? Reclaiming Sovereignty. Lidia's journey from chronic illness to conscious leadership, to be a leader of my own life in a conscious way and to commit to that. We're all conscious leaders of ourselves. And then in so doing, we share that with the world, just like you're doing in your show. And that ebook, it's $5. And it is a donation to our horse rescue sanctuary. So if anybody is interested in learning about some of the things we're talking about today, that's a wonderful resource to support you, again, at any stage of your journey, just learning these basic tools. They're all free. You know, you just find quotes or mantras or affirmations, and then you value it. We prioritize what we value. And I still have quotes all over my kitchen from a difficult time that I went through when I suddenly lost a horse who ascended, and it was so devastating. And then I had channeled messages coming through about her, why she had to leave, and what she was saying, that there was a portal of energy and she was being called to the other side. But I still need those messages when I wash my dishes, to help me connect with the reality of her spiritual journey, and that we can stay connected in the spiritual plane. So number one, as I was saying, get healthy. Make healthier priority, because the healthier your body is, the clearer your frequency is, the easier it is for your mind to balance, like for your emotions, right? And then the emotions support the physical as well. So there's many, many simple things we can do to release fear. We'll always have some level of healthy fear that can be an activation. You know, like sometimes in life we'll kind of push ourselves beyond our capacity because we know it's going to activate us to really focus or to redirect our path. But at the end of the day, we want to be able to honor ourselves and become our energy field so strong. It's what I call the Buddha in the middle of the burning inferno. So what you're saying, you can send me all these messages, or now the word, mind control. You can send me all that, but my energy field will be so strong, my aura, that it will deflect that. And that's not done with the mind. That's not a mental exercise. That's not just a mantra. That is your state of being. Your aura is your core energy that radiates out from inside and creates that sphere of energy around you. And so you can say anything to me. And if I have a strong auric field and I've worked on my self-development, I I won't feel bad about myself. You can tell me that all sorts of things are going on, and I can acknowledge it. And I may have to, as we know with the fires, I may have to move to get out of the fire, but it doesn't affect me, who I am. That's just a circumstance that I have to deal with. So we don't want to be broken by the experiences of life.
We need more teachers like you, Lidia.
Well, I have a Conscious Leader Circle that's free once a month where we talk about these things and have wonderful guest speakers. And I'd love for you to be a conscious leader, Jennifer, and join us as a guest speaker on our Conscious Leader Circle, anyone who's listening. And I'm developing all different levels of free offers and lower end offers and coaching programs. I already offer holistic counseling and coaching. I've got my Hidden Buddha, the Journey of Self-Discovery program that we offer through retreats here as well. And I have my chronic illness recovery program, Chronic Health Breakthrough. We have our equine healing retreats, which focuses on stillness and silence with the horses and what is activated within us when we are with the horses. And then I have my high performance wellness coaching for people who are already working with mindset or want to master mindset and manage their stress, manage their energy. And then we utilize these ancient universal principles. So there are 4 pathways of services that I offer, as I mentioned, at any stage and at any price level. And I also offer a free ebook, 10 Tools to Survive and Thrive in Uncertain Times. So that's very relevant to what we're saying this morning. And there's workbooks, there are worksheets in that free ebook. You just go to my website, aponahealing.com, sign up for our newsletter, and there's also a free ebook section. And I offer all of this sort of support in our weekly emails. And the free ebook is really a wonderful tool. There's 10 tools that will help us stay centered, connected, and conscious in these uncertain times. And these uncertain times are not going to go away. They're going to go on for decades. So in 2100, when the North Star aligns with the North Pole, and that's just a fact. I mean, that's just astrophysics. That will herald in the next 13,500 years of light. So we're going to be in a state of transformation until 2100, but it's supposed to level out around 2070. But you're here. Everyone listening is here on the planet now. I'm so excited. Because you're already a master. You have come at the most difficult time on the earth, at the most difficult juncture of shifting on the planet from 13,500 years of darkness into 13,500 years of light. And the ancient Hopi and the Mayans 19,000 years ago said it would only be the most powerful souls in the whole universe who would have the courage, as you're saying, and the ability to live on the earth at this time. So it is hard at times, and we feel lost at times. But that will evolve and change into an inner knowing of empowerment and feeling free and secure beyond your comprehension. It is so phenomenal to feel secure within yourself, that you know that no matter what happens in life, you will find a way forward. And I've entered into that through my own journey, and it is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible, Lidia. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's my honor and pleasure. It's my honor and pleasure. And as I mentioned, we have that wonderful free ebook. And then I have the $5 ebook. That's a donation to our horse sanctuary. And then for the book launch on August 30th, one of the prizes, the authors are all offering prizes if you buy the ebook. I think it's 99 cents for the book launch on Amazon at 9 a.m. your time zone. And the authors have contributed free prizes. And my free prize is the ebook, 7 Steps to Co-Create with the Divine, what I just outlined here. So there's lots of free and low-end offers that are affordable, and just utilizing those tools on your own. When I started my healing in macrobiotics, I had no resources. I finished university, and I luckily didn't have student debt. But I also didn't have any money, and but I started with a book from the world's biggest bookstore for like $2.99, and so where there's a will, there's a way. But as you're saying, if we're stuck in fear or we're just feeling overwhelmed, it's hard to access that will. So we want to breathe. Remember, you're here for a purpose. And then start to utilize the free and affordable resources that you can find to start moving you forward on that momentum of your path. And then you will build resilience and confidence in your knowing.
Thank you. I love it. I really needed this conversation.
Oh, well, it's my honor and pleasure, as I said, and I welcome everyone to join us. It's the third Saturday of every month at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom, or Conscious Leader Circle, where we have these exact conversations. Sometimes we have a guest speaker that focuses on something that you can do to support yourself in your healing and personal growth, and during this huge paradigm shift. And sometimes we just chat and have an open house. So I have full faith and inner knowing and confidence that each of us are on a journey of self-discovery for our own personal growth and to make this world a better place. And that is why we came here at this time, at the most difficult time. It is difficult. And there's a lot going on, but stay connected with yourself. Focus on yourself, not in an egotistic way, but in a way, if you're an animal in nature who's distracted by every sound or becomes fearful, it will collapse. Right? We have to stay focused on ourselves and who we are and how we can move forward. And then, openings appear, and suddenly there's a call, or suddenly there's a job offer, or suddenly there's a new place to live, or something happens. But then you value that. You go, oh, yes, that's right. I'm being guided. And then it's my responsibility to follow through on that, right? I have to follow through on what the universe is offering me. So we have responsibility. I say we're moving from self-blame into self-responsibility. Not that we were irresponsible, but a higher self-responsibility of what we're talking about with connection to our own higher self. So thank you again, Jennifer, for this beautiful conversation.
Thank you as well, Lidia. This has been amazing.
Okay, you have a wonderful day.
You as well. And I'll make sure to share the links. I'm going to create a little video, and this will be aired on the Thursday, 24th of August at 8 p.m. on CKMS 102.7 FM for people living in Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge here in Ontario, and also via www.RadioWaterloo.Ca. And this was Lidia Kuleshnyk, and she's with AponaHealing.com and a Renaissance woman. Thank you so much, Lidia.
Well, thank you, and I invite everybody to come visit us at our ranch, Apona Healing Ranch. It's a beautiful, peaceful place. So we welcome you.
That was Lidia Kuleshnyk with AponaHealing.com. Go online and check out their website as well. Her book comes out on 30th of August, 2023 on Amazon. Really appreciated the conversation today with her. This is Yenny at the Regime with Radio Waterloo out of Kitchener, Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. Thanks so much for tuning in.